Hello everybody, this is yehdawg StarCraft coming to you with this second match between Trap, who's going to be spawning at the bottom right hand location of Nimbus as the red Protoss, and Bomber, who's going to be spawning as the blue Terran up in the top left hand corner. So last game, Bomber was victorious. He did come out of that 2-base timing push with his Marine Bioforce and Medivacs, and he was able to destroy Trap, who was in the process of getting his third expansion. Trap just didn't have enough units to deal with the force of Bomber. He only had Stalkers, and he at that point only had one Colossus that had didn't even have thermal lance. It happened. It just popped right when Bomber was halfway through his push. So he just didn't have what it took to. He didn't have enough splash to take care of that Bioforce of Bomber, which is why he was able to secure that first game. And then now Trap's probably going to be thinking, okay, my Blink Stalker timing attack didn't really work out too well. Nimbus is not really known for a good location for Blink Stalkers. As you can see, there's not many places to blink up. There's only just one spot right here, and then this destructible debris up in the front. There's no side area where you can blink up because it's a huge gap in between up in here in the natural expansion. So Bomber, showing that in his previous games that he likes to go gasless and he likes to go command center first, which he's probably going to be doing right now. Yes, he's putting down a command center before he's doing anything else. While Trap is deciding to go for a very standard build. He's got gas at 14. He's getting a gateway right now, and he's probably going to get a first Stalker out before he decides to get his expansion up and running, or at least a scouting Zealot. So Cybernetics Core comes down right now. He's going to be just probing up. And I'm not sure if he's going to scout just yet. This is Nimbus, so there are a couple spawning locations, but I think it's cross-spawn for this game. So he's going to be able to know that. Bomber is putting down a barracks right now, so he's going to be blocking up the ramp. So even if Trap did want to come in and try and scout what's going on, he wouldn't even know about this expansion because it's not natural. It's a natural expansion within your own base, which is what's good about Nimbus, because you can get these really heavy macro games. Because both players can take their natural expansion safely without fearing too much of pressure from their opponent. So Trap's going to be feeling comfortable now to take his Nexus right at this moment because he's got his gateway up. He's protecting himself for any type of any early aggression if he needs to switch into gateways at any point, or just get out some units. His probe's going to be coming in here. It's going to be seeing that it's walled off. Doesn't see much. Just sees the barrack and that it's producing a Marine. So he doesn't have too much scouting information just now. Bomber is actually going to be scouting in the wrong location. So I guess I'm wrong. It's not cross-spawn, so you have to kind of guess. It doesn't put you behind too much if you decide, or if you accidentally scout a location that's not your opponent. It would only count if, let's say, your opponent is 6-pulling you, and this is a very, it's not that big of a distance, and it's not that small. It's a pretty, I would just say a medium amount of distance between both bases. So if a Zerg was deciding to 6-pull you, if you didn't scout right away, it wouldn't, I guess he would put you behind. Mothership Core is out for Trap. He's going to be coming in here because he couldn't scout with a probe. Going to be pushing in with the Mothership Core to see as much as he can. All he really wants to see is a poke in here into the natural expansion and see if there's anything here. If there is, he's going to know that there's going to be an orbital, that he had time to get the orbital, and also that there are how saturated his natural expansion is. So he sees 4 SCVs, see these 3 Marines going to be running out of here because he cannot lose his Mothership Core. Don't do it. It's not worth it, Trap. You saw what you need to see. Get out of there. Robotics Core coming out for Trap right now. So I think this can either go 2 ways. I think he's going to realize that he's going to need to get splash damage much faster, or he's just going to go for an Observer. Yeah, he's going to get a quick Observer, and I think he's going to be able to tech into Colossus much faster. He's going to be blocking off the front of his ramp because he doesn't want an SCV to come in here and scout this. Because the more scouting information you deny from your opponent, the more ahead you can be. Quick starports coming out from Bomber. So he's got his gases, both gases right now. He's getting a starport. He's going to be producing Widowmine, so we're going to be seeing a Widowmine drop coming out of Bomber in the near future. And also he's getting his natural expansion pretty saturated. And he's got 4 Marines here just in case the Mothership Core decides to poke back. But look at Trap. He's deciding to go the economic route, and he's already going for his 3rd expansion. It doesn't appear that Bomber knows about it. To be honest, Bomber doesn't know much about his opponent. He knows about the robotics facility though, so that's a plus. The observer is going to be coming out, and he's going to be going over to Bomber's base to see what's going on. Tech labs coming out of both the starport and the factory, so and barracks. So I think off these two bases, Bomber's going for blood. He's going to try and do some damage off these two bases. He really likes these two base pushes, these two base builds. You can do a lot. He's just shown that as a Terran player, you can do a lot off of two bases. With two bases fully saturated, you can get the production train rolling. And he's going to be swapping out this barracks over here into the tech lab, and he's going to be starting to research. He's already researched STEM. Okay, so he's probably going to research either combat shields or concussive shells for his units. But right now he's going to be going in for a drop. At this point, he's got 4 Marines and 2 Widow Mines. Can he do damage with this? Widow Mine, 1 Widow Mine going down. Photon overcharge on the Nexus. He's going to be able to kill the Widow Mine. Widow Mine still hasn't gone off because the observer's there. I really didn't do that much damage. He's going to try and move over to the side and try and go over to another base. He does. I think he's going to be able to find this natural expansion. He does find the 3rd expansion of Trap, but with these stalkers here, he's going to be able to push it away. I think Trap just had a good read. He's got observers out on this map. He's got 1 observer. He's got 2 observers. Just 3 observers. So he's not going to let Bomber get ahead in this game with these drops or with these Widow Mines. I think he just anticipated that. Stims being researched, combat shields 2, and +1 upgrades coming out from Bomber. But Colossus is being produced by Trap right now. He's got 2 gateways and a Colossus. He hasn't turned these into warp gates yet. He's turning them into warp gates just right now. And 1 Colossus is already out, and Thermal Lance is about a quarter being done in research, actually a third. Forge being put down by Trap. He was severely down in upgrades last game. He didn't have any upgrades to the 1-1 upgraded Bioforce of Bomber, which really let them just tear through his Stalker count. And also his Zealots, who were he had as the main meat shield of his army composition, just melted, just absolutely melted to the Marine Stim. And also, they were also held back behind force fields, so they weren't even in the front to tank or do any damage. So they were tanking damage, but they weren't really doing any damage either. So we'll see if this second drop with 3 these 3 medevacs is going to be able to do some damage here. But to be honest, I don't know. Photon overcharge can be put down on this Nexus, and there are already defending stalkers here. So this drop could potentially not do much. It could. It couldn't. We'll see what happens. He's kind of poking in here. He's gonna put coming in here. He's gonna be dropping these units, but he immediately picks up because automatically Photon overcharge gets put down. There's really no disadvantage as a Protoss player to be putting these Photon overcharges down, as long as you're defensive and you're keeping your economy safe. Because unlike Zerg, when you make or Terran, when you force your opponent to scan, he's basically losing money. He can't saturate his bases with mules, and that's putting him behind. In order to keep up with the chrono boosted production of workers for the Protoss player, a Terran really needs to be able to drop those mules. But for a Mothership Core to be dropping these defensive Photon overcharges, it's not really doing too much. It's not putting him behind too much. He just won't have a lot of energy when he goes to push out for time warps, things like that. But it's not really putting the Protoss player that behind, just being defensive. If anything, by defending his bases, he's doing a really good job. +1 armor has completed from the Protoss army. He's got a bunch of gateways. How many gateways does he have? He's about 9 warp gates right now. So he's got a good amount of production. He needs to be making units and getting this army composition up, because Bomber, he's actually both food supplies are about even, both at 163 and 164. Let's get army supply though. Army supply, there we go. 115 for Bomber versus the 94 of Trap. But if you look at worker supply, Trap is up by 70, but don't let that fool you. That just means Bomber is using mules at this point. But if you see, he's pulled all his SCVs off the line. He's streaming across the map with this huge Bioforce. He's got Vikings to deal with the Colossus, and he's also got medevacs to heal his bio units. His upgrades are 1-1. He's got stim. He's got combat shields. He's got concussive shells. He's going to go in here. The stalker is coming up in the front. Should be should not be there. If he gets these stalkers in the front and they get picked off, he's going to be in a very bad spot. He's got 3 Colossus. These stalkers need to move to the back. These Zealots need to move to the front. Splits the army. The Bioforce pushing in. These SCVs doing a lot of soaking up a lot of damage. These Widowmines not burrowing. These Colossus in the back. Good force fields out of trap. Not really cutting off the army too much, just cutting off the retreat, but he needs to be putting him in front of this Bioforce because there's just way too much to deal with. Photon Overcharge comes down on the Nexus for Trap, but he's lost all his Colossus. I don't think he's going to have enough. No Colossus coming out of Trap right now. He doesn't have anything to protect his third base. And still, if you look at the workers, at the army supply, just Bomber is up 85 to 40. He just has so much, but if you look at the Bioforce's health, it's really low. So if he loses his Colossus, oh, he lost the Colossus. That's another Colossus down. He's just got these Stalkers and these Zealots. No more Photon Overcharge. This shuttle just coming in here, or this War Prism, sorry. He's coming in here, not feeling to do much. These observers just looking, watching in horror as their base, their homeland is being destroyed by this Bioforce of Bomber. There's nothing much he can do. He's taking out these pylons, unpowering all these structures. He's chrono boosting these warp gates, but it doesn't mean anything. There's nothing powering him. And Trap GG's out of this, not being able to hold the 2-base push, or shall I say 3-base, because Bomber was able to get this 3-base up. I'm not sure how saturated it was, considering he pulled all his SCVs off the line to attack. Bomber just really likes these 2-base all-in pushes. He just knew he was ahead, knew that there wasn't that much army composition for his Protoss player. From this Protoss player, the thing about being a Terran player, or any player against Protoss actually, is that if you let your Protoss opponent tech up and get that scary death ball, there's not really much you can do. It's really difficult to push against that. And the thing is, Protoss have also gotten really good at doing multi-pronged attacks. So it's not like you're just dealing with this giant scary death ball. You're also having to deal with these Warp Prism drops in your main, probably with DTs, and then you also have to deal with this big force. It's really difficult as a Terran player or a Zerg player to deal with that. A Zerg player included, because you don't have that many structures. All your important structures, if they take them out, then that puts you behind. And then remaxing that army of the units that you need is going to be much harder. As a Terran player too, a Bioforce is really good. I mean, it just absolutely tears through units. But at the same time, if your opponent has enough splash, it really doesn't mean anything. Bio units don't have much health. A good storm on top of a Bioforce is probably good enough to take out like half of it, if these are like well placed storms. So you, as a Terran player, you need to take it. You need to take it fast against a Protoss player, unless they're going for some two-base timing too, which is what Trap really needed to realize. He really needed to observe that Bomber wasn't going for a long-term macro strategy. He likes just doing this 2-base. He's really comfortable in this tournament. Red Bull Battlegrounds Washington 2014. He's really comfortable doing this. So hopefully the next person going against Bomber learns his little tactic and decides to build up an army quick and not go for these long-term macro matches. And we'll see what matches come out further for this 100 days of StarCraft 2. I'm going to be casting more games of Red Bull Battlegrounds Washington, D.C. Bomber takes this series 2-0 from Trap, and I think next game is going to be So versus Dongwei Gu. So I'm excited for those games. If you're excited to see those casts too, subscribe, stick around, and also leave comments, because I'm trying to improve my casting style. I notice my casting deteriorates as the time goes by. For longer games, so starts out okay, but then as the game progresses, I just start to ramble. So I'm going to be working on that. If you got any advice, please leave it. And also, if you like the video, please like it. Also share. This is yehdawg, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.